Oh, hi. Can you hear me all right?
Your heart can handle it. I thought for sure you are gonna fold.
Oh my god, bro, I was sitting there, I was just thinking, I was like, I just gave this motherfucker 50 grand just for him to all in on me.
You got it. It went through. It went through.
I'm kind of curious
What planet am I on
what
right
the
now?
balance is like between me talking and the stream footage. If you have any thoughts on that.
That is the definition of a snap call.
Is the stream much louder than me?
$200 million in the pot, pretty much. 244,000 from Tom Dwan. First time goes to Dwan. They're going to run it a second time here.
I guess I can look at the
And they
levels.
both go.
Check
to
1,
Tom
2.
Dwan, and Keating once again
Check
felt
1,
it.
2.
And he has just
2, 3.
reloaded for
Check
another
1, 2.
100,000.
I think so. I'm all in.
And Krish is gonna check jam with ace deuce of diamonds.
One time.
And one time, queens versus ace deuce. Was it this?
To mix it up, $1,000 pot, something like.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a few more minutes. I'll just leave my notes up on screen, maybe. Oh, no, I'll get to that later. I'll give it a few more minutes. I don't expect a lot of people to join. I'm still thinking about how the best way to do these things. So I don't expect a lot of people because I haven't promoted it that much. So.
Just kind of a random.
I'll give it another couple minutes, see if a few more people show up. But I will start soon. Again, I don't expect a lot of people because I didn't promote this much, and I'm still working out the kinks. This is largely something that I'm doing for myself. So. Also, the recording might just be interesting, regardless of how many people show up. So. Okay, I'm going to get going in like 1 minute. If anybody has any observations about the stream, things I'm messing up, audio, whatever it is, let me know, please. Okay, I guess I'll get into this. So, this is the third of these live analysis things I've done. The previous two are on my YouTube. One's in the live section and one's just uploaded, not in the live section. But yeah, this is kind of a work in progress. I'm still working out ways to do these live streams and figure out what's interesting, but this one will be a bit different from the other two. My main concept for this was to hide the hole cards and watch footage I've never seen before in order to go in blind and be bias free and give my thoughts on behavior. But I'm still so that's my general concept of this live analysis thing. But for this one, I'm specifically going to turn I'm going to turn on the commentary and leave the hole cards up, just because I'm mainly curious about the table talk, because we're going to be watching the stream where the infamous Robbie Jade Lou Jack forehand happened, where Garrett Adelstein accused her of cheating. So my main goal in this was I was just curious about the table dynamics, what led up to it, and what happened afterwards, especially in view of Garrett saying that there were other unusual things happen, which he wrote about on 2+2, this report of his, where he mentions other hands that he thought were suspicious. I have not watched. I am going in blind on this stuff, except for the Jack forehand and like a couple other hands that he mentioned that I had watched like a year or more ago in his report. So this is another case of me going in blind, but obviously I'll have the commentary on and see the hole cards and such. So this isn't my usual concept for this live analysis, because my main goal was to go in blind on things that I haven't seen before, but I'll do that in future. But this was actually an idea from Lyman. If you know Lyman of the Poker Sesh show, LA Poker Player, when I mentioned to him I was going to be doing live analysis, he was like, "Oh, you should try to do the Jack forehand, just because people are still interested in that, and you might have some interesting observations on behavior and such." So that's what we'll be doing today. Whether we don't have a lot of people tuning in. I haven't promoted this much. It might be interesting, as something to watch later for some people. I'm not sure, but yeah. And also, I wanted to say on January 13th, on Tuesday, I was going to invite Lyman on to talk with me about the Jack forehand specifically. For example, why neither of us thought that Robbie Jade Lou cheated, and why other people didn't think she cheated, what the dynamics were, why we think all the strange things happened the way they did, why people thought she cheated, these kinds of things. So, yeah, that's my view of the Jack forehand, basically, is that I have not seen any good evidence that makes me think she cheated. I think a lot of the weird things can be explained by other factors, including coincidences. And part of what makes me say that is the really bad nature. If you've ever read Garrett Adelstein's report that he put out afterwards, where he tried to make the case that there was other stuff going on that was suspicious, it was just a really bad write-up. Like, it was, we could get into it later. It was just very clearly extremely biased, trying to take minor things and make them into mountains. And that was also a case where I was like, if this is the best, evidence that Garrett, who's very, clearly has reasons for trying to put together the best case he can, if that's the best he can do, it was very bad. And I just think mainly I thought from the beginning that her behavior struck me as innocent, which isn't that meaningful, but it was first impressions. And then the more I looked at it, the more I thought that. Mainly, though, it wouldn't like shock me to find out that she was, that she had cheated or something. I think the main point is like there was nothing that made me highly confident that she. There's no reason to be certain or even near certain about such things, but so many people jump to these certain conclusions, right? If you want to see a previous talk on my behavior psychology podcast, People Who Read People, where I talked to Yakov Hirsch, a LA pro poker player, we talk about that hand. If you want to watch more about that, but okay, so I've probably gone enough about that. But in the, if anybody watching, I know we don't have a lot of people watching, but feel free along the way to put in your thoughts on things as we watch this. And a quick note, because for the previous live analysis sessions I did, I was watching the previous day's footage from Hustler Casino Live. With the whole cards hidden, with the audio off, so I could just watch nonverbal behavior. A few interesting things to note here, which are on screen. The most interesting things that popped up that seemed like highly reliable to talk about were the timing-based tells, call timing, check timing, bet timing. And I was just talking to a high-stakes player the other day that I talk to occasionally, and we were agreeing that timing tells were the most useful thing to study if you had to pick one thing to study. It's just so common, really, and surprisingly common considering how much information can be in those areas. A few other interesting things that came up in my previous two live analysis sessions were there were some relaxed versus more tense-seeming behaviors in a few spots when betting. Wasn't a whole lot to talk about there. Ryosuke had a few interesting things to talk about. There was some staring at board cards when weak behavior. But one major interesting thing, which is worth noting before we get into this, is Eric Pearson. He was acting very opposite of the general patterns in a way that I really have never seen before, to be honest. Like, I've watched a lot of poker footage, obviously. He had nonverbals that were strongly associated with strength and relaxation that he showed when bluffing several times. Like, for example, kind of like shrugging behaviors, a lot of hesitation behaviors, looking uncertain, these kinds of things, which to me, are quite highly reliable, like especially if you see more than one of them from people, and especially like on the more extreme side. So just summing it up, Eric tricked me several times in a row because I was like, wow, he's really reversing a lot of these common tells, these patterns, which is interesting to know because, obviously once you know that, you start to adjust your read. If you even see that once, you start to adjust your read. So that could be interesting when we watch this. Obviously, we're watching with the, we're not hiding the whole cards and such, but I wish I could watch it like that because that would be interesting to see. But it's just something we can talk about, or I'll talk about it. It's also interesting too because I had written for my Poker Tells Substack. I had written something about Eric's verbal stuff, which I think, and I haven't when I was watching it going in blind, I only watched, I was only watching the nonverbal. But yeah, it's interesting to think about whether Eric or people in general, their verbal stuff might be much more reliable. I'm trying to find which one that was. Oh yeah. Yeah, if you go back to a 2023 thing, some verbal analysis of Eric Pearson, I mean, I do tend to think, I wrote Verbal Poker Tells, the book, and I do tend to think verbal stuff contains so much more information and is more reliable in general than nonverbal. But anyway. So, okay, we'll start the stream. Enough of me going on. If anybody has any observations about things I'm doing, could be doing better with the stream, audio, whatever, audio levels. Let me know. Okay, we'll get this going. Oh, I was already at the right time. Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hustler Casino live here in beautiful Los Angeles, California. It is day 2 of Phil Ivey Night, and I am Bart Hansen.
Let me know if you can hear that all right, because I want to be sure you can hear it, the table talk, and hear me talking too.
From last night, Phil Ivey, Phil Cash, the OG, let you know that the starting at 5 Pacific time, 8 Eastern, and we had a doozy of a show last night. Some great we've seen him do, just kind of. Now this is Robbie. We've seen Robbie play on the show at least once before, once or twice. She got mixed up with Garrett. And that was over the last 1 to 2 weeks. So a new face. Nice to have a new face. See how much she's going to buy in for. I believe this game is 100,000 minimum, playing off a 1-2-4. There's Andy. Andy Stacks. Fan favorite. Loves to battle. Got bluffed. I was talking with Garrett. 4x the pot as a pure bluff with King 5 offsuit last night and got Andy to fold kings. He bet about up 380,000 into about a $80,000 pot, something like that. There's Mike X. Good to see Mike X playing at these stakes. Good luck to him. He's been on the show many times. He may have even played more than Garrett. And there's another recent fan favorite, the happiest guy in the world, Ruske. Always smiling.
Oh, they pronounce his name Ruske. Somebody was set to pronouncing his name right, Suki, before. So sorry about that, Ruske.
He loves poker so much, if he's not tired after the stream, he'll go and play 5-5. That is a true story. That's how much he loves the game. And we've got R.I.P. I am not familiar with this dude. Cattle rancher. The hat fits the description.
I'll throw in here that Rip, assuming that's how he says his name, I assume, was mentioned in Garrett's write-up on 2+2 about him suspecting Rip and Robbie being in cahoots or something regarding cheating. Now, to be clear, I think Garrett's evidence for that, his write-up was extremely bad and just libelous, really, and how bad it was. So I just wanted to point that out, but that's an interesting aspect to watching this, is Garrett's accusation.
And as I like to call him, the king of speech play and poker table talk, Eric Pearson. This guy has unbelievable game when it comes to talking about his hands, trying to induce action based upon what he says. He got Garrett to call him down last night with ace queen high when he had the nuts.
Well, that's interesting. Getting back to my Substack, because when I analyzed little backstory, when I analyzed Eric a couple of years ago, I'd only watched a few hands from him, and I even said in here it's possible Eric's pretty balanced for all I know. Maybe he's capable of switching all these things up. So I said that, And then it's interesting to hear Bart say that Eric is very tricky with the speech play. So just to say, like, yeah, like I said in my write-up, it's possible that he was trickier than I know. And but it was an interesting thing that led to when I wrote that, Eric got mad at me. I mean, he seems like a pretty fiery dude and said some mean things to me on social media. And he's like, you don't know anything about me, you know, which fair point. Like, as I say, in my write-up, I'm like, yeah, it could not be true, but it could not be a pattern for him, but we're talking about general patterns. And it's, you know, I don't understand the getting mad because I'm either spreading bad information about him or I'm helping him find his imbalances, one or the other. But he just seems like a pretty fiery guy overall. But it'll be interesting to see now that I'm getting a chance to listen to more of Eric, because I've watched very little of him. So it'll be interesting maybe in this to hear more verbal stuff from him. Because I honestly haven't heard tricky things from him in the few hands. I've basically, for the verbal stuff, seen him mainly align with the normal patterns that I write about for Poker Tales. So we'll see.
Another fan favorite, former Survivor contestant, legendary high stakes cash game player. And he is obviously not afraid to mix it up too. Let's take a look here at what these guys. Wow, Garrett's gonna buy in for 800,000.
Just so you all know, the Jack 4 hands happens about 2 hours into this, so we're only I think an hour and a half away from when it happens.
800,000.
Hour and a half, and hour and a half of this footage, and I might actually skip through some minor stuff, so it might be quicker than that. I'm not sure.
Mike X gonna buy in for 50. So apparently the minimum is 50, and that's still over 100 blinds. RIP here with 70. Robbie with 100,000. 124 with a 400 big blind ante. I will be following along in the live chat, laying out as much as possible. It's just going to be me tonight. We had my good friend David Tuckman and Billy DGAF last night doing a duo of commentary. They did a great job.
I just eyeballed it.
And of course, those chocolate purple chips are 5K, so a stack is 100,000. The greens are 1,000, the whites are hundreds, and the grays are 500s. So Garrett's got at least 600,000 in chocolates right there, 600,000 or 700,000.
Mike, how are you?
1, 2, 4. So 1, 2, 4, 4. Okay.
Got beat up a little bit yesterday.
And here we go.
Yesterday game
Okay.
was crazy.
Be careful.
The 1, 2, 4, 4 is like foreplay, you know? Like, this is...
Yeah, somebody mentioned Phil Ivey. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have much to say about Phil Ivey's behavior. I mean, yeah.
And Phil Ivey will be joining us very shortly.
Garrett has promised he's not going to straddle today, right? Good to see you back working the handheld. I don't know.
So, right off the bat here.
I'm just going to, for the notes purposes of the AI summary notes, I'm going to occasionally voice what's happening. So we got a raise from Robbie.
They're blind versus blind, looks like.
Garrett has promised not to straddle today.
Big blind into
Robbie versus Andy.
third blind. Robbie with the king jack, and Andy hits a piece, but Robbie's got a gut shot.
35,000
Ah, yeah.
Many times.
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah, and I think
I won one of those hands.
you did.
Yeah.
Wish we would have done that yesterday.
Very small bet.
What's your...
Very small bet from Robbie.
I have ace queen.
Bet and a call.
Yes.
That's for the side eye.
Yeah.
Keep that shit to him.
That was a stick. Yeah, I like straddle and I like jumbo.
And Robbie's gonna double barrel here
I'm not going
on the ace,
That's why I can't.
but she doesn't bet that much, and Andy's just gonna let it go. Andy's just gonna let it go. First hand goes to Robbie.
Huh? Everybody. Never want to be like going hard on
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
Last time I was here.
2-4, right, for me?
I mean, yeah, thanks for the mention about reading Poker Tells. You might like Exploiting Poker Tells, which I think is my best general book on tells. If you haven't seen that, it's an improvement with more specific, concrete hand histories and such. I mean, the one thing that stands out to me watching this hand, I mean, a small thing, but I do think fairly immediately with the bet sizing, like she strikes me as very inexperienced, which was which is obviously a true thing about her, and one of the reasons I thought it was capable. She just, was capable of doing very weird things in poker.
Commentating this game, I actually had to catch my flight back to the East Coast. And that was, of course, that 17-hour epic stream. I went for 14 hours, and Ryan Feldman had to take over the last 3 hours, and that was not planned. Of course, that was with Alan Keating and Mickey. And, of course, Alan Keating's coming back in a few weeks. If you've seen the promo, playing with Phil Hellmuth, Shamath Palihapitiya. I'm a fan of Shamath and his podcast, the All In podcast.
Like, if I needed LASIK, I would be the first person. Like, I'd be in the clinical trials. Like, what? That was the best invention ever. I'm not even
I'm
sure.
old fashioned. I don't want to do it too. I don't want laser in my eye.
You get 2 seconds.
I know, but
And you can do one eye at a time if you like. And you don't feel it.
I know.
It's sore the next day.
I grew up wearing glasses like all my life, so it's just like it's a comfort thing, you know. Just used to wearing glasses.
Garrett flops an open-ended straight, draws the pre-flop razor, and he takes it down.
They remove
Andrew Robles, this is his first game. He's a really good game. Nice. These are bad. Really good.
Every night to fall asleep.
Just kind of skip over some of the slower stuff.
Good thing for you. You and I think we have a lot in common in that way.
Yeah.
You gotta try my stuff. I got a plant-based sleep.
So Garrett here going to raise it up with 8s, and Andy calls out of the small blind, which is going to bring in the big blind as well.
What it does is it's fermented THC that only comes from 1% of and then
Andy here is going to bet out. And actually, Ruske is not in the hand there. Heads up. There he is. There he is.
Interesting small bet from Andy here.
Now, Phil Ivey.
Nice to see you.
Any of you guys like me that have been into poker for a long time remember as Andy bluffs Garrett off the hand here on the 4th club. 2003 World Series of Poker.
11 or 12.
Leading to the final table, and then everything else was history after that. Poker took off.
I wasn't visible yesterday. I'm irrelevant, you know.
50 minutes.
I wasn't the star.
JR was
a star. Yeah. JR was a big one. For sure. Yeah.
But I think he deserves that.
He deserves it. He deserves it. Just went to a good guy.
1,000.
You want to put the other stuff away in the back?
We will get what Phil bought in here for in a second.
Do you have room? No, no.
And Phil was the second biggest loser last night.
Yeah.
We did see him try to run a bluff against Eric Person. Bluff raising the river did not work. But he had a quiet night last night.
You gotta be cautious.
So Garrett was to the immediate right of Eric last night, and tonight he draws right to his left. Maybe he's going to set a little precedent here, 3-betting.
Pretty big.
Yeah. I only chose him once a long time ago.
So that kind
Yeah, I played with him I met him I want to say 6
Wish I could just hear the table talk without the commentary, but oh well.
years ago, and he was still homeless at the time. He was
well, we're not playing the 7-deuce game, but Eric Person is going to bring it in for a raise with 7-deuce off.
Oh wow, they live there now?
No, he goes everywhere like
And RIP getting in there with King 4, so we're going to see some action here tonight. And RIP flops the nut flush draw with the offsuit King. He's got a royal draw, a 1-card royal draw. And he will bet and take it down. is the best player. Definitely worth a listen to. About a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah, you're right.
Mike X here. Gonna raise it up.
That'd be awesome.
Gonna get a couple callers.
How long are your intermittent fasts?
I do like 20 hours.
Oh wow.
You should just all these be digital.
I have like so many.
Sometimes I don't.
Table playing live or playing at
I try to do it like three, 4 times. I think that's better.
that would
Doesn't have
insert
the
the
same
amount.
feel.
Yeah.
People can't couple.
For me,
You gotta keep something.
Whenever people ask me about that, I always think anything works as long as you're disciplined. I just don't always. It's all kind of. Also, it's the most addictive shit in the entire world.
Some people in the chat telling me that I should pronounce the guy in the hat's name Rip as a character.
Thinking we're back now.
From,
Sorry about that.
Yellowstone,
Jeez.
so I will
Always
do that. As
been
Garrett
having
here flops a comp.
very iffy internet this morning.
Pronounce the guy in the hat's name Rip as a character from Yellowstone, so I will do that. As Garrett here flops a combo draw, and he's going to lead right into Ivy. Ivy's hand's not populating, but he was the pre-flop raiser. So 1,000 here from Garrett with the computer hand suited, and now Garrett makes the queen high flush. Still don't know what Ivy has here.
I do like in Hustler how they show the players side by side. That's so much better for doing this kind of thing.
Let's play along with Ivy, and he's going to make the call. So I would assume he's got a high diamond or an overpair here. River is a 7, so puts a one-liner out there to a 6 as well, which is going to make an overpair even harder to call if Phil had aces, kings, something like that. He could have the ace of diamonds or the king of diamonds in his hand as well. And Garrett's going to go really small here. Really small, 1,500. We usually see Garrett make large bets. And look at this. Is this a raise here?
Interesting little, Garrett maybe trying to make it look like a little blocker bet, which is interesting.
And Phil's going to make it 9,000. So Garrett goes very small here, and Phil is going to raise. And on the surface, usually this is just a call, but I wonder if Garrett thinks that he might have induced something. I mean, these guys are 300,000 deep. Usually you're not going to bet the river with just the queen high flush, especially against the goat. But I think Garrett is going to bet 3-bet. So the bet 3-bet with the queen high flush here to 26.5, and Phil just lets it go. And part of the reason why sometimes you wouldn't raise there is because, of course, you have to get called by a worse hand.
If you need to see my hand, it's still right here. If it's not dead, it's good. Oh, I can give you the whole action if you need that as well. You got it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Need to get called by a worse hand. Play, made the raise, and Phil just released. Mike X here going to make a raise with Jack 10 of hearts. And Eric Person here, ace king off out of the small blind. And he just calls. So just a call here with ace king.
Or check.
And Mike hits a piece of it, and it goes check, check, and that's not a great card here for Mike X, because Eric now with ace-king, less likely that he's going to have a king, and I think Mike is going to lose some money here in this hand. 3,000 here from Eric, and a call. River is a jack, puts a front door flush out there. Eric with the ace of clubs, not slowing down. Gonna bet 8,000 into 10.
Call.
Mike's just gonna call. Not even gonna think about it too long. Like I said, the most impressive part of seeing Eric Persson play is his speech play. I mean, he is an absolute pro. He pulls out all the stops. Like, it's hard enough to like make up certain hands that you have, but he's saying things that make sense. Like right off the cuff. Like last night when he had 7-8 first straight, he was telling Garrett, "Oh, this is a great spot to have 7-3." Like, he's saying things that actually make sense and they seem natural. It just comes to him naturally.
I mean, one interesting thing about this, again, if you're just tuning in, I do have this write-up of some verbal analysis of Eric Persson, but I haven't watched much Eric Persson, so it's interesting to hear Bart Hansen say all this stuff about how tricky he is. But another interesting thing about commentary for these kinds of things is, like, even if Bart Hansen thought Eric Persson was easy to read, I don't think you'd hear Bart Hansen say that in this context of the commentary, right? Like, there's various incentives to not talk about that. So I do think it's interesting in terms of like the incentives the commentary and other players have to not draw attention to people's patterns, right? Like, even if Bart Hansen thought Eric was quite imbalanced, I think he would mostly say like, "Oh, he's a very tricky player," and so on and so on. So it's just interesting. It makes me want to watch more Eric Persson hands, because I just haven't seen that much, and I haven't seen that much stuff I thought was really that tricky.
As now Garrett picks up ace-king suited. And he is definitely...
But I trust Bart Hansen too. I think, there probably is some trickiness. It just makes me want to watch more.
Not going to flat here. He's going to 3-bet it up against a Ruske open. Andy here going the speed limit in between.
Flush was there, straight was on the board.
And it looks like he's going to 4-bet here. So a 4-bet here with pocket fives. And of course, we saw that big hand where Garrett bluffed Andy, and I'm sure Andy knows. This time Andy has position on Garrett from last night. They got into 2 4-bet pots last night. Andy had kings both times. Here Andy putting a little bluff on it. And here we go, 35-8.
The problem is, I just always tell the truth. People don't get it.
And that is probably one of the worst flops for ace-king of clubs here, queen 9-7, but Andy does not c-bet here. Andy has the best hand. You wonder if he thinks he's got to turn his hand into a bluff, but he's just going to check it down.
Ace-king.
And it's going to get checked all the way down, and Andy's going to win it there. Cold 4-bet with pocket fives. Maybe that's...
You're a big winner. Yeah, way, like, you're the winner. So,
I wasn't a big winner. You had a big victory, and then you went to dinner, right? Had a nice dinner yesterday. Right? What'd you
Guys, Andy check calls with ace-10 as a gut shot, and now he's got the check mark, but...
I will say, I'll throw in too, I'm not going to talk about every single behavior I see, because I do kind of want to get to the Jack forehand, and I'm mainly kind of curious in this about the dynamics with Robbie, J. Lou, and Garrett, and such, and Rip maybe. For example, I could have said something about the quick check from Andy there, I think, and I've talked about this in the previous live session analysis of like what it tends to mean when a pre-flop aggressor checks quickly. Long story short, it tends to mean they don't have air, tends to mean they have something, tends to mean they have usually some medium strength hand of some sort, because if they have air, there's usually an incentive to think a little bit, even if they end up checking and so on. So a lot of times you'll see people, the pre-flop raisers, are checking quickly when they have something but not air. But again, this is just to say I'm not going to talk about everything I see, because I am going to try to focus more on the Robbie J. Lou kind of dynamics in this one. But if you're curious about those things, I mean, check out the previous streams or watch future ones.
Garrett has the betting lead here, fired on the flop as the pre-flop.
And again, if you're just turning in, I for future ones and past ones, I'm hiding the whole cards and going in, without any reads. I'm turning the commentary off. But in the future, so for this one, I'm just doing this because it's the Jack 4 hand and I want to watch the table dynamics. But my initial concept for this whole thing was to go in blind and have the whole cards hidden and so on. And I actually want to see if I can find a stream that will allow me to turn off will give me the stream without the commentary so I can listen to the table talk too and listen to some verbal stuff too. So I'm going to ask the Lodge and maybe some other places about that idea, which would be much more interesting to watch because then we get to talk about the verbal stuff too and do it bias free, hide the whole cards and such. Okay.
Razor. Andy is going to check here about that hand and what an
keep going
hand on the river. All that 7. You're going to start this one off with a limp. Yep. Just your average limped pot at a 100, 200, 400 game, but Andy is not going to let this get limped around. He picks up ace queen. He makes it 3K. Ivy has a pair. He's in there with 6s, and so is Eric. So here we go. And Andy flopping top. And Eric has a 10, so Andy's going to extract a little bit here. Nice little blank on the turn, and Andy checks, and it goes check. River brings in the front door. Andy's still with the best hand, but definitely not the best river. I mean, this would be super, super thin here. Once in a while.
No, I didn't do anything. I'm trying to figure out what you have.
2 cards.
I do think in general, as a general rule, when somebody, a non-aggressor does ostentatious things, like Eric here being like, did you check? Sort of like, basically anything that's kind of out of the ordinary will tend to weaken a player's range because, so say if Eric had a straight or a flush or 2 pair or something, he'd have an incentive to be a little bit more cagey and not draw attention to himself and so on. So not to say it's that highly reliable, but those kind of little things would make me more likely to bluff if I was Andy, those kinds of things. But again, it's Eric. We've heard he's tricky verbally, so I haven't watched enough of him to know his overall verbal patterns. But I'm just talking general tells. Like that's the kind of little stuff that I'll be like, just induce me to be a bit more aggressive in those spots if I'm weak in those, or value bet. I should also say value bet lightly. With hands I might not otherwise. Makes it more likely, a bit more likely they're on the defensive, non-cagey, slow playing kind of aspect.
10 seconds.
14,000. Call.
14,000 and snap call. Wow.
Actually, there was another. I haven't watched. Like I said, I haven't watched too much Eric Pearson, but there was another hand where he did something like this in a big pot where to me, it was such a common tell, kind of an extreme tell of not being focused and being more defensive. And it would have made me much more comfortable, like value betting what the other player had. I can't remember. I think it might have been Garrett, actually, in this hand I examined. It was an interesting spot because, I just thought it, unless Eric's much more tricky than I give him credit for it verbally. Which is totally possible. Again, as I even said in my write-up, I'm mainly talking about general tells, and then you can try to get player-specific reads. Like if you see Eric deviate even a few times, once or twice even from standard tells, you have to be more careful and not rely on that stuff as much.
It wasn't the best river for Andy to get value, but he just got snapped.
It's possible Andy based his decision on that little behavior a bit. again, it's possible Bart Hansen has these kinds of reads, but there's an incentive as a commentator for these things to not talk about that stuff. Like, can you imagine how disliked you'd be and not invited back as a commentary person you'd be if you start talking about the more obvious player imbalanced behaviors and tells and stuff like that. That would not be appreciated.
Slightly reminiscent of when Alan Keating beat Stanley in the pot, all in with pocket sevens from that epic week from last month. We have seen Eric have a history of some short-term tilt, which kind of led into that big hand that he lost all his chips in that big game with Keating when he lost with aces against JRB. Here he calls with queen four of clubs. Nick Vertucci's so good at recognizing that sort of short-term game flow at the table. And Eric flops a pretty big hand here, though, with the queen four of clubs, pair and flush draw.
Put him down. Because they're fun to shuffle.
Interesting bet from Rip.
Rip bets 2,400. Eric calls. And Brewski's got top pair. And Eric flops
just
a pretty
rolling
big
it back
hand
for a
here,
second.
though, with the queen four of clubs, pair and flush draw.
Put him down. Because they're fun to shuffle.
I will say too, like, yeah, oh, never mind. I won't get into it. Let's just keep on.
Rip bets 2,400. Eric calls. And Brewski's got top pair, so he calls too.
Oh.
And Rip hits his gut shot, so he's got the straight with the ace now. And he's going to bet, wow, over the size of the pot. And Eric's hand went from...
We'll say, too, from what I know and have heard and saw a little bit of, Rip is a quite inexperienced player.
A combo draw just to a dry flush draw, and he's just going to dump it. He's just going to dump it.
Such a good flop. Trash.
It's early here, up. Pleasure of doing the first time that he was on the show, which was almost a year ago. And of course, all...
Sure.
Looks like they're going to get a round of straddles. All our shows go up for free, so if you want to watch Phil Ivey's first appearance, it was from last October, I believe. So we're going to straddle it up here. So 1, 2, 4, 8. That's why you see Garrett raising up here to 2,500. Andy here, queen 10 of clubs, just going to call, not 3-bet. And Mike X looks interested. And this is where you can have an advantage on the short stack. He's only in for 37,000. And now all of a sudden, he's got less than 50 big blinds. And if these guys are splashing table, if you do it well, and Mike had 6s there.
Huh? Taking a break. Yeah. Oh, mine is way so different.
Interesting. Robbie, I hadn't noticed it before. She's got the Jaka coaching. What's his face? How do you pronounce it? Faraj Jaka does some coaching. That's right. I'd forgotten that he had coached her.
There's a lot of good ones around.
Yeah. Good ones.
Not the best advertisement for the Jack forehand and other things. Not the best advertisement for Jaka coaching. But, again, that doesn't mean much. Not to, you could, a coach can't be blamed for everything. Students do. Also, it could be good advertising. Any publicity is good publicity.
It's there.
It was like during the pandemic. But it was like...
I know what you
Still
mean.
going, just like running.
There's something about just staring at the monitor that just makes you sleepy.
Yeah, like
you're
I
not
would like
getting
when he does it, like have a funny video with him, like he's getting so I'll just go.
How about Eric Person here coming out of the shell and gonna 3-bet with 7 deuce offsuit against the GOAT?
I've seen people do that. And I can see why there's distraction problems and
I do like the
things.
fact that once like from the girls, sometimes when you could do on your phone too.
Yeah.
Just easy on.
Yeah.
Gotta straddle.
Yeah, but like when I'm in Vegas.
Oh. Robbie's getting involved in this one.
What is that?
800 shuttle.
It's just 28. What is that?
Just rolling it back 1 second.
What is that?
800 shuttle.
It's just 28.
So Eric really zooming around here.
Robbie, you sponsored by something, or are you just like playing?
He's my personal coach.
Say it again.
Are you about this?
That, and then I thought you were talking about online poker. Is that
Oh, no,
what
we
you
were
were
talking about online poker.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you sponsored? I don't care how many hours of online poker you play.
No, I've taken a little bit of a break, but I was like a little, like, you know, like when we were all in the pandemic, like everyone played online, right? It's like,
For
it's
sure,
not a
of
big
course.
thing.
Even I played a little, actually.
What I was saying was like,
Funny,
I'd
yeah.
be playing and I'd like fall asleep, wake up, and be like, oh shit, I'm in the money.
Yeah.
Like,
You wake up, you're in the money? What?
like just getting blinded.
Yeah, that's probably something you're playing too much. Take a fucking nap.
I'm awake, I can't win money. How do you fall asleep?
It's insane. Yeah, there's one I could not mathematically make sense out of. So somebody was like, that means that every time it came you were all in and you kept winning. And I must have won like
Interesting little table talk there about Robbie saying she would sometimes she'd fall asleep in a tournament, wake up and be in the money.
I wish I could see it live, but I never saw it. Like the replay.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of it because the way the process was that I would send all my live hands, like 1,000 a week,
Right.
and then we would have the closing sessions based on the live hands.
Oh, okay.
So I had to be playing live hands. And so like if you, there's like a weird button thing in there where you can like you record your live hands with close to screen.
Okay. Well, that, yeah,
Very,
that's a cool
very
function.
helpful because
Very
you're not like sitting there trying to remember things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
You could see the action. Robbie, you're in for 600.
Sure.
By the way, Garrett just 3-bet. So we've seen a couple people 3-bet these mid.
I wish I could hear the table talk more of the conversations Robbie's having with people, but she's talking about her online play there, which, I mean, I think it's quite clear that she's quite inexperienced and, let's just say, fundamentally bad from the hands she plays. So it is interesting. It's like this and other things, like my immediate impression when I learned about this hand was, and her behavior in table talk right during the hand, was that she was somebody trying to come across as someone quite skilled, but not, she wanted to fit in and seem with it and knowledgeable, but she was not, clearly was not, which I think can help explain some of the stranger behavior she had, where people thought it was quite suspicious because she wants to look like she knows what she's doing, which could help explain like her going back and forth on stories, like it's theoretically possible she misread her hand but then tried to cover it up and because she didn't want to look stupid, these kinds of things. So just to say, her inexperience makes all kinds of things possible that wouldn't otherwise be possible,
To small pocket pairs.
or at least wouldn't otherwise be likely.
Take it down with the deuce. We've got 12,500 people watching. I think we got up to 22,000 last night, so hopefully we can break that record with over 10,000 likes. I'll get reconfirmation on that too. As Rip's gonna raise it up here with the ace deuce off. And Mike X here, he's coming in. So Rip hits top pair, and he's going to bet 6,000. $16,000.
I think they had it on YouTube for a couple of
He
weeks.
was like, he sits down, he goes, I just watched your master class. It's the fucking funniest shit ever.
And then they took it down.
I think that's what it was.
An interesting thing about, they're talking about Phil Ivey's masterclass. Yeah, I have an interesting story about being asked to work on that masterclass thing, Phil Ivey's masterclass, but I'm technically not supposed to talk about it. I don't think anybody would actually care, though, but I was asked to help work on creating it, like writing it, and I gave an amount, and think it was just too much for them. They didn't get back to me. Anyway, just an interesting backstory.
I have never seen Phil Ivey's masterclass.
What are you talking about?
Phil's masterclass.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wonder what it took to get him to do that.
I watched Eric's heads up with Phil like 20 times.
How many? Right? Yeah. That's just epic.
Fucking unreal.
Eric, Phil Hellmuth playing heads up.
Yeah.
They played on like some heads up tournament. You probably heard something about this, right? No?
It was destruction.
He never pays attention to me.
Yeah.
He'll never pays attention to me. See this Garrett? He has no idea what I fucking
He just
do
like,
all
he
day.
trolled Hellmuth like,
He was so mad. He got up. He's like calling security. Like, it was fucking crazy.
I remember Phil, like, it's only kind of related, but like 15, 17 years ago, like what, just forever ago, people used to ask you about like super basic poker concepts. And you always straight face would just be like, huh? I don't know nothing about that. And like, for forever, you basically just had like everyone trolled. Like you really didn't even know. Like, that's what you just were talking about reminded me. I believe you didn't know about this thing, but.
Interesting table talk where Garrett's talking about Ivey pretending to be more clueless than he was. Which many pro and high stakes players have an incentive to do, obviously. I would say Garrett, speaking of tells too, Garrett once went into detail about use of live tells years ago, and then later said he regretted talking about that because it gave too much information about stuff he found valuable. Also, I mean, I talked to a high stakes player the other day who I talk to occasionally, can't say his name, but he also talked about, we were talking about the incentive to not draw attention to, things like tells and other information in high stakes games. Just you don't want to get the information out there, which is, I think there's less of that now than there used to be. But still an interesting
Robbie
dynamic.
has check raised the flop pair, got called as both players had top pair, and continues to bet.
Check.
And all of a sudden we get a $45,000, over $45,000, and it's going to go check here at the end. So a little value there by Robbie. Check raising flop betting turn.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I think that's another hand where it just shows these unorthodox lines from Robbie.
The longest they didn't think I knew what EV was.
That was one of them for sure. EV, yeah.
Yeah. So you like, I just played the card.
Line heads up. Meanwhile, you play online, heads up, against the best guys in the world. After a while, you just beat them all. It was insane.
It's coming on 4 million views, but no Phil Ivey views.
Ivey is a man of few words.
Make you famous, Eric.
Everybody watches me, but you. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Of course, if you missed it, players at the table were talking
Don't
about
go on the internet too much, which is very good for one's mental health. So, yeah.
Parsons' heads-up match against Phil Hellmuth, where Parson just Oh, it's just unbelievable. You can look it up on YouTube. Just got Phil all frazzled. One of the more entertaining things I've ever seen in poker. As Andy brings it in for a raise here. Ruske gonna pull the reverse float here with 7-4 of spades. Picks up a spade draw, but that's gonna give Andy top pair. This is blind versus blind, and Andy's gonna check, and Ruske does not bet. He actually takes a card. Andy runs into top 2, front door diamonds come in, and now Ruske's gonna bluff at it. And he's gonna bet full pot here. Calls the flop, checks back the turn, and now bets the river. There was no straight draw out there. It's kind of hard to find a float, and could Andy possibly fold here? I mean, it's really crazy. This one might get through. Well,
Call.
no, he's gonna call. Here that started with, I believe it started with Eric. So sometimes we'll be on for a round, sometimes we won't. Oh, Robbie here. Pocket aces.
Interesting, almost immediately, like she's got like a kind of like a expression of uncertainty, disappointment on her face with the pressed lips.
Oh, Robbie here.
Like,
pocket aces.
If I see that from somebody, it means less pre-flop because there's more variance pre-flop when I see that kind of thing from somebody making a big, a big major bet post-flop. Or even a, major bet pre-flop. It will make me worried. Just such a common tell of somebody relaxed and instinctually trying to give a sense of disappointment.
No, it's fine. Yeah, but now, I look back, I was like, oh, that was cool. I was only.
And Ivy's gonna call in the.
It's just also interesting to me that the fact that live tells are there's a reason why they're so seldom discussed on these streams. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but if you're just tuning in, if Bart saw that, there's no incentive Bart has to call attention to those during the stream. Like, that would make him not popular as a commentator. The players would be upset. I mean, the specific players that you talk about would be upset. The other players would be upset if you're calling attention to tells that they might use, right? So just to say, there's a reason commentary never talks about tells, except they might talk about it. The fairly extreme ones occasionally, but just to say, there's a reason you won't hear these things on the streams.
Middle here, in the middle blind, with ace-5 of hearts, with 2 guys behind him. You'll see a lot of people 3-bet that hand. He just calls.
It's kind of like poker in that, if you're in it, you're obsessed. So there's a bunch of people that are obsessed with the show,
It's an amazing show.
Yeah, and so I was able to feed off their energy, kind of like I do with poker, actually.
Ivy flops the nut
People
flush draw.
fucking love poker, man.
King, king, jack.
So many people, it's their whole life, They just love it so much.
You check? How do you know?
2,000 here from Robbie. Let's see how Ivy's gonna play it. Just a call. And a third king. Just makes the flush draw go to dust here.
Drop you off in the middle of the wilderness to live in Arctic conditions in the winter, and you film it yourself. You gotta survive 100 days alone.
You have to have some sort of background.
No, hell no. It's people are sick at it. So you have to be best in the world to survive. Yeah.
And Robbie gonna go 9,000 here. Try to target a jack, but obviously Ivy does not.
I mean, it wasn't, she had a few of the same kind of uncertain things going on, but I don't think it was that meaningful. Again, we're talking a small spot here, and also the fact that, Ivy could have a king. It's not, if she gets action, it's not like she's feeling that strong. So, just to say, yeah, if it was it would have been more interesting if it was a bigger pot and such, but not. I don't think it's worth dwelling on that much of that.
Jack and aces are good.
Also, the double checking of cards before a bet is a general pattern too of a relaxation strength. You know, bluffers don't want to double check and then their whole cards and then bet. It does happen, obviously. People can be more balanced, but as a general concept especially for more recreational players.
Check it out. If you like Survivor, it's a totally different kind of show. But if you like survival type shit, yeah, dude, Alone's the best. It's not even close. Yeah, Alone is the sickest shit.
Wow. Gotta like figure out how to eat from treat, like like just
If you like appreciate,
I think we're like 45 minutes away from the Jack 4 hand,
the
something like
nuance
that.
and the grind of like the day to day on how to survive like alone in the middle of like an Arctic winter, then you'll love it. Yeah.
Oh my bad, sorry. That's crazy. I'll check it out.
Great question. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
on that show,
there's a lot of us that'd be out pretty quick. I certainly wouldn't be one of the last ones to make it, but I wouldn't be the first one out.
You gotta like.
You think you'd be first? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like camping. I get, you know. Like
I don't like camping either.
Shit like that. I can't even. Well, we're just talking about like surviving, like the survival shows. Like who would be in this group?
You guys think I could
like,
survive? Let's be real. Come on.
Who do you think will last longer, Robbie? You or Andy?
Andy would last like a few months longer.
A few months? Oh God. Give me way too much credit.
No way either of you make it 72 hours. No fucking chance. There's no way you make it 3 days.
I'll lose my mind. Yeah, you haven't had enough hours with me when I'm just.
I feel like
that
I'm
show
alone on
blows
this
my mind.
poker.
Have you seen it? Oh my God.
One of those sensory deprivation tanks recently for the first time.
Did you freak out like the floating ones?
No, I mean
had like a borderline panic attack in that.
Yeah, I get it. Like I meditate, so you know.
I do too, but like for some reason that felt too claustrophobic for me.
I get it. It was much harder even to do an hour than I figured it would be. Yeah.
I didn't like it.
It was weird. I don't know
It was
that.
too quiet. It was
Yeah.
weird. I need music or something.
There are some that have like
music though?
soothing like.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Alone with my thoughts.
I started like counting sheep and shit. I'm not really even thinking what I'm supposed to do. I'm like,
yeah.
how many? I'm like 16, 15.
Phil Ivy's going to raise, and he's going to get some customers here. He's got 5 through a spades, a couple people on the blind call. We don't know what Rip has.
Floating tanks, like where you're just like in this, like you're like in this.
Like an egg.
Rusuke here with the ace of hearts. Ivy just gets out of the way. Well, we saw a float in position against Andy.
Sorry.
A few hands ago here. He's going to call with ace high with the ace of hearts.
No discount.
There's the heart. Rusuke also picks up a straight draw now, a gutter with a 9, but it looks like Rip is going to continue to fire.
Interesting here, the double check of cards from Rip. Looked like some hesitation kind of posture when he reached for his chips. You know, if I had to guess, I would guess on the stronger side here from those things, but it's still a small pot, so I don't, you know, the smaller the pot is, the more ambiguous, the less polarized emotions there can be. It's also flipping chipped end over end, which as a general thing correlates to more relaxed behaviors. It's more loose. You don't often see the end over end chip flipping.
And he's been using fairly large sizing in all his bets. He goes 8,000 now. So you wonder what plan Rusuke had. Is he thinking about possibly throwing in a check raise here? I guess the answer is yes, as we see those chocolate chips come out.
Quick reach from Rip.
These are always fun hands when we don't see one player's hands.
So this is interesting too. Yeah, the Rip's language, you know, demeanor said to me, I thought he was on a stronger side. Then you see a pretty quick reach for chips, a pretty quick call of the raise, which, you know, will quick calls will tend to make, you know, more medium strength hands more likely, right? As opposed to, you know, I mean, the call alone will make the strongest hands less likely, but the quicker the call is, the less likely it becomes that he's, slow playing with nuts or something like that, right? So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, these things say that to combine, I think Rip had something, had something decent was my read when he bet. And then, of course, from the action and from the behavior, we think it's less likely that he has a very strong hand.
We're going to get called. Brusque's going to get called here. Remember, Rip bet out of the big blind. River pairs the board. That's a 7, so...
Now, him double-checking his cards, like I write in my content, it's like everything's situation dependent. A double-check of cards from a player who's waiting to act when the other player's acting is a more defensive kind of thing. Like I said before, more ostentatious behavior makes it more likely that they're in kind of a defensive, non-slow playing mode. So, or tends to make it that way. So when I see those kinds of things from an opponent, I'm more likely to bluff or then value bet. I think in this case, it would not to say, we're never saying these things are 100%, but talking general patterns, it would just make it a bit more likely to me that Rip did not have like a set or something and didn't hit a full house on the river.
Brusque bricks out.
And he also is just moving around a lot, which, if he was in a slow playing mode or more strong mode, focus mode, he'd just be a little bit more stoic, I think, slamming his chips around.
Phil Ivey, who is the pre-flop raiser. Now Brusque is just going to give up, and I'm assured that Rip can beat ace-9. See if we can see it.
I mean, I'm glad another broken heart didn't come.
Queen Jack.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's about in keeping. I might have thought he was a little bit stronger with the with his demeanor on the turn and his snap call on the turn, but he's also, like we said, he's a pretty recreational player. So these things vary more, very more, have more variation. But I do think, that I think those patterns that I mentioned will tend to be reliable in general, and also for Rip because he seems on the more recreational side.
Hallelujah!
Nice hand.
Yeah, if I had seen those things, just say if I was Raisuke, those things would have made me feel more confident about keep bluffing on the river.
The World Poker Tour WP Global.
So it's good to see you coming back. If you're eligible, if you live in an eligible area, head over to WPT Global and check it out.
We're about 40 minutes.
Picks up ace king.
40 minutes from the famous Jack 4 hand with Robbie.
She's going to get some action. Maybe even in 4 spots here. Well, Eric is going to put in a 3-bet with ace-8 of hearts. So Robbie's got many callers behind, and a lot of times you're incentivized to 4-bet to drive everybody else behind you out. And she has a...
it's a small thing because it doesn't mean much, but like for the people saying that Robbie, was theoretically getting signals that she was ahead or something. It's like, if that were true, this would be a spot where she might have an incentive to re-raise here. I think you'd usually see her re-raise in a multi-way pot and such. It's a small thing, of course. We don't know. Even if she theoretically was cheating, which again I don't think she was, and we'll get into that later and on the next live stream. I'm just saying it's one small piece of evidence. Like nobody could really find when people went through the hands. There was nothing really. Nobody found anything suspicious in other hands. In fact, people found several pieces of evidence that, like, if she was cheating, she would have played hands much differently. There's just no evidence that, unlike, the Mike Postle situation, for example, where he was always, like, making the right decision, right? So, anyway.
Very tight range from under the gun, but she's just gonna call. And that does bring in Mike X behind with the king-queen. And the action here is on Rip, who called with Jack 10 off initially.
Yeah, I did. I love it. 10 seconds.
Shout out to Joey Ingram, Chicago Joey Ingram, joining the live chat. So here we go, three ways, 21.8. And everybody misses. Robbie with the ace of diamonds here, Mike with the king of diamonds. And this is why you're incentivized to drive people out with ace-king from under the gun, because Robbie could easily continue if she were heads up. Now it's much, much tougher when she has Mike behind her. Eric, that's about a third of the pot. Looks like she's going to continue anyways, though. And now it's over to Mike, and he might feel like he can maybe call with his 2 over cards and king of diamonds. Now he's going to get out of the way. Turn is a deuce, so both players now with a gutter wheel draw. Not a great barrel card here for Eric, but he is going to continue. And he's going to bet 20,000, so 2/3 here on the turn. Or about a half pot size bet on the turn, rather.
45.
And whoa, she's gonna raise. I was gonna say she looked like a non-believer. She has the ace of diamonds and the king of clubs, 2 stiff backdoor flush.
This is interesting. Yeah, I think this was one of the ones that people drew attention to as being suspicious when they were. I think this was like maybe the one only other hand that they could, you know, that could conceivably be an indicator of her cheating. I think. I don't think there was anything else that people found as any sort of theoretically likely spot. But that's kind of interesting for this reason.
But she's actually going to raise, and little does she know.
But I've never seen this.
The best hand here.
Also interesting for being such a small raise.
So 20,000, but it's a small raise. It's kind of like a click up. 20 to 45, and you wonder, is it possible that Eric might be sensing something here? They're throwing a time chip. Let's see our 5K chips.
Oh, who knows? Maybe Eric 3-bets her off this hand, which would be interesting too.
Remember, she opened from under the gun and then called a 3-bet. So those low cards don't do a whole lot for her. Of course, she could have like ace-4. Sometimes you see somebody make a small raise with just top pair to sort of shut the action down, like a king-10, ace-10, something like that. They're just going to live to see another day.
That was an interesting hand.
And Eric hasn't brought out the banter yet.
I've never seen that one. I'm kind of curious if did Garrett even mention that one in his report? I can't remember. I don't know. But you can see why that might have been the one that the people who thought she cheated might also point to that. But obviously there are many other explanations. People just do weird things.
We all see it later if we care, right?
And to be clear, if you're just tuning in, I don't think Robbie cheated. And I never did from the beginning. Mainly, though, I think there's just no strong evidence that she did. And so it's bad to be certain, or nearly certain about it, that she cheated.
How'd you end up yesterday? Play yesterday?
Yes.
How'd you end up?
How'd
you do?
Not a good, not bad. Same, even.
Mike X here raises it up with 7s, and Rip calls on the button.
Check. Check.
And Rip is not going to bet at it. It's going to go check, check. And how about Mike turning a set here? But Rip actually picks up a double gutter here on the turn. Sometimes people miss this. He had a gutter to a queen on the flop, and he turns a double gutter to an 8. And this would be really hidden if he hits it.
Just a gamble right here. Just a gamble.
And he's going to make the call.
Strictly gambling.
And the river here is a queen. And he makes one of the gut shots. And Mike has a set. And boy, the way this one went down, Mike only has 31,000. If I'm Rip, I'm going to raise for sure.
I'm trying to listen to something Mike said here.
And boy, the way this one went down, Mike only has 31,000. If I'm Rip, I'm going to raise for sure.
I can't hear what Mike's saying, but it could have been some hand weakening statement. I'm not sure.
And I think Rip might stack Mike here. Let's see. 5,000. Mike's got 31 left. Or
You ever need chocolate
26
chips back there,
left.
Mike? No. I'm all in.
Yeah, there's...
Yeah, one in verbal poker tells one pattern I talk about is, you know, when you have somebody making a significant bet or raise and they're asking about your chip stack and such, you know, it'll tend to be equated with relaxation and strength, just because a bluffer will tend to not want to say anything that might agitate you or possibly irritate you, so they tend to not do those kinds of things. Like if Mike was, or if Rip was trying to bluff Mike in this spot, if he really was genuinely curious about Mike's chip stack, he'd be more likely to actually like check it out a bit and figure it out himself versus like asking him loosely, because bluffers just tend to try to avoid triggering their opponents, you know, saying less confrontational things and such.
The all-in. There's the all-in.
I could be wrong too. I thought I heard a sigh from Rip too, like when Mike bet, which, you know, followed by a raise is a sign of strength, obviously. Signs of consternation or uncertainty. Also interesting here, Rip staring at Mike too. That's a general pattern for people. The more engagement, eye contact or otherwise, people give when making a big bet, the more eye contact and face-to-face engagement they give, it'll tend to mean relaxation. As a general rule, different players may have different patterns or be balanced or such. But as a general thing, real loose behavior from Rip there.
Yeah, he's just going to call really quickly. He's going to say for Mike, we just have to go through. Is someone going to overvalue 2 pair? But what a turn and what a river. And a nice pop there for Rip.
Thank you, sir.
Wins about... Well, Rip's going to play his rush and call this raise here from Ruski with ace-7 off. Ruski with ace-deuce of clubs. And Robbie here with ace-queen in the big blind. See if she's going to throw in the 3-bet here. Nice little squeeze spot.
Yeah. It's just west. Peak City is west of here, yeah. Spend a lot of time on it?
Not really. I mean,
Not your favorite?
I like it.
Oh, you do like it?
And she's going to go to 4,500. Yeah. A little on the small side.
About when you are here, where do you stay?
Here, probably Beverly Hills.
And she's going to get called by both players here. So we've got
good food over there too.
3 aces out.
When you come here.
Yeah.
It's a different planet than where I live. Like the nice beach areas versus Beverly Hills, they're just way different. Like the culture, everything's just way different.
Yeah, people much friendlier over there, right?
I think, yeah. I think like obviously you're gonna be biased to where you live, you know, but
The sun is not, is a big, I mean, like, you know, being on the beach and stuff just makes you just a better person.
I think so. I think so, yeah.
So everyone
There's
misses
a lot
here.
of, like, old money, legacy money in Beverly Hills.
Another really small sizing from Robbie bets 2.5 into like 14,000.
We still go there once a month to eat or whatever, but it's just different.
And Robbie makes a tiny bet.
Another interesting thing too is Robbie and Rip do seem to be friends. That was one of Garrett's gripes in his very bad, in my opinion, write-up on 2+2. One of his gripes is that they seem to be friends and maybe even be soft playing each other, which I think could be the case. I think it is the case that they were friends and soft playing each other. But I think that's to act as if that's anything that's makes cheating more likely is just illogical. I mean, friends soft play each other all the time, especially recreational players, and they tend to make it quite obvious that they are. So just say, I don't think that means anything.
Under 20% on the pot, but it's going to get through, and she had the best hand, and she's going to win another one. As we are up to close to 15,000 live viewers again.
Am I the 400? Yeah.
And we on these great games, sometimes I get to play in the game.
The door, I would have been more boss. Not even walking to your seat, just stay from the door.
And Mike here, fresh off a $50,000 reload, is going to make the call. We do not know what Eric has, but Mike here with ace-9 of spades.
I'm having flashbacks.
Check and bet 7,000. Yeah.
He was ahead of me.
1,000 raise.
Ball from Eric, though. So a limp call of a 3-bet from Eric. And Andy now thinking about that dead money out there. It's 4,000 for him. He's getting the price. And he's going to call. All the queens are gone here. But there's a king. And now Andy is way out in front as he has the only diamond here too. Terrible flop here for Mike X.
Bet 1,000.
And Andy's gonna bet 1,000. 1,000 into 18-8.
Andy bets 1,000 and it's 18,000, says trying to steal the pot, or 19,000.
And you wonder if he's trying to induce.
It's a part of the class that curriculum you teach.
Raise 11.
Well, if he was trying to induce, he's induced because Eric's going to raise with total air, almost drawing dead.
It is interesting the reactions you can get from these kind of funny bets, you know, when Andy bets out and Mike immediately starts laughing, you know, like, you know, it's just so unlikely. Like, if you get that kind of reaction that player, you know, has flopped the nuts or a very strong hand. It's just sort of in a similar way you can get information from joking around by how people react and how focused they are and such. That can especially play a role in multi-way pots because players are less on guard. They're less fully stoic. You know, they're more likely to give away that they're just not that focused on the hand because they're more likely to just be folding if they don't have a hand.
Into 18-8.
Yeah, He's making expressions. He's calling. He's saying stuff to Andy. Anyway, I'll keep going.
And that's going to save Mike X. And Andy is 97% to win the handy checks dark.
Not very often you're 97% on that board with yeah.
Turns an offsuit 6.
Check.
And Eric's going to check again. Check dark again. There's a diamond. Andy checked dark twice. Andy's made the second nuts here, and I don't think he's going anywhere if Eric bluffs at it. And Eric is going to bluff at it. 22.5 and 22.5 and Andy beat him in the pot.
Queen of diamonds. Yeah.
Might as well gone $22.50.
Not seeing much. I'm not seeing much verbal or non-verbal stuff from Eric this game. Unlike the last games, I feel like unusual for him, maybe.
In the next few hands.
I check.
Well, he's going to call Garrett's open. Garrett opening light here with 10-7 of hearts. Both players have missed. Queen, deuce, queen. 4. On most night. Line versus, and this is the type of situation. And he is. He's going to go 9,000 now. He misses. But he might continue to plow through here, try to get Ruske off at ace high, and he is. He's going to go 9,000 now. And if Ruske is thinking about calling and trying to bluff a spade, he's going to bluff. Starts with 40,000, which is just at 100 big blinds. Andy, big winner here tonight so far. 100,000 already. So Ruske's gonna.
The other thing people pointed out was if Robbie was really cheating, was really getting information about hole cards, I think she'd be in a lot more pots, right? It's what you saw with Mike Postle, for example. He was just in a lot of pots because he knew he had such a huge post-flop edge, right?
Wow, look at this Ruske here. And you wonder if Andy's going to go for some value now. Is Ruske going to...
Like, for example, if Robbie was cheating and was so bad at cheating that she would play the Jack 4 hand like she did, which would just be really, really bad if you were a cheater to play a hand like that because you wouldn't want to arouse suspicion. Like, if she was willing to do that, capable of doing that as a cheater, theoretically, you'd probably see her in a lot more hands because she would clearly not be being very careful, so she'd be doing a lot more to take advantage of her, theoretical cheating advantage. So the fact that she's just not in a lot of hands is, on its own, an indicator that she was probably not cheating, to me.
Raise the river. Andy bets just 1,200. I mean, if Ruske checked back the turn, I assume they're just snap folds.
Interesting, another small bet from Andy here.
I assume he's going to raise this river. And Andy just snappity-dappity folds there.
Snappity-dappity.
I would say he folds a lot.
Just for the notes, an example of Raisuke raising the river with trip deuces with a strong hand.
Maybe even overfold. Garrett came in with a...
What did you drink last night? Tequila? Yeah. I'll do it.
I've had a lot of mornings in my life, dude, where I just stare at the ceiling being like, you can't open your eye. Like, you're like, am I ever going to grow up? Am I ever going to stop feeling like,
I do this myself.
Fucking so many days like that, man.
Where you like have one foot on the floor just so like the world is.
Did she raise her?
She called.
I called it.
Okay.
20.
Okay, heads up.
So we played with a extra straddle here because Rip came back in to the game, so this pot is a little bit larger. Eric raised with Queen 5 of diamonds, and Robbie just called with Jack 10 of clubs, and Robbie flops a flush draw here.
I call it brown out. I don't know when it's coming, and then all of a sudden it's the next day, and I barely remember little bits of it.
Yeah, how you get home.
And then a week later, I could drink the same amount and be fine.
And a check call.
So weird.
And there's the flush. There's the flush. And Eric picks up a pair here too. River's a king. I was gonna say, is that queen gonna be enough? Possibly for him to call.
Another kind of disappointed, a minor subtle thing, but another little disappointed lip movement of like, kind of like a slight expression of disappointment maybe. Again, it was a minor thing, but worth noting. This is a small pot. It's, in general, the smaller the pot is, the less likely it is to pick up reliable information.
12,000, and he calls quickly.
What the fuck is going on? She's speeding her hand. So weird.
Almost a straight flush.
So weird right now. So annoying.
I did this tequila pour, and I went to what else fit. You put on a little on your hand, and it's like not sticky at all. It was really fascinating, and then we all got drunk and like learned all about the stuff and drinking at the same time. It was really fun.
So we've got the 800 on here again, and Garrett in the effective under the gun spot raises with Jack 5 of clubs, even though he's in the cutoff with 4 or 5 different people in the one.
Next time you order it from the bar, you can test it out.
Well, Rip with ace-9 flops top, and looks like he's just going to lead out, which is probably not going to be the best way to play this one unless he induces Garrett to do something here.
You just let it sit well and then let it evaporate.
I don't know.
Tequila any kind of tequila.
Oh, wow, cool, so cool.
Go Hanzan. Yeah, that's cool too, right?
$100 on. Andy brought it in for a raise. And time.
Interesting. Oh, okay, yeah. I just want to watch Eric have aces here.
Wow, and Eric's picked up aces. Rip has 7s. What a time to pick up aces when people think you're tilting. We've got the 800 on. Andy brought it in for a raise on the button to 2,000.
One interesting thing, Eric doing a little hand up kind of shrugging gesture, which in general, those kinds of things, uncertain gestures and such will tend to be correlated with strength and relaxation. But one interesting thing, as I said, is in the previous 2 live analysis I did, Eric was doing a lot of that stuff with weak hands and bluffs, like including big river bluffs and such. So it's just an interesting thing that I think Eric is more balanced with that kind of stuff, yeah.
And 2 callers in between, and now...
But it's just such a strange thing to see people do that in general, like to do that frequently with different hand strength. It's just so strange because most people, like, why would you even get involved in doing all these weird gestures, Most people would just avoid them, not try to like do them a lot. And but just to say, he's an interesting character. I haven't really seen another player do the things he's done.
Here comes aces. Up to 10,000.
Just for the notes, we got a hand where Eric has pocket aces.
Andy wants to get in there, but king 10 off, just not good enough. Now, how about the pairs, though? Ruski's going to let deuce go. Rip here with 7s. Seem to have been running well so far tonight. And if Eric loses this pot, we could see another one of these blow-ups. See if Rip
really thinking hard about this one.
Gets in there. Of course, there's a time limit on your decisions. That's why you hear the dealer saying 10 seconds, time extensions. And Rip is going to get in there, so he's going to be the double flatter, so 25,000. To the flop.
So lucky. One more. Oh shit. One more in there.
Queen Jack 4.
I check.
So we're probably, depending on Eric's sizing here, Eric's gonna go 12,000. The chat is going insane, rooting for a 7. Shows are 5 hours. We go in 7 hours. Well, Robbie defended her straddle against Ruske here, and she's flopped a piece of it. She's got the best of it with a 3.
Another small bet. A lot of small bets in this game.
1,500 in a call. I don't know if we've seen Robbie lose a pot yet here, but Ruske River's a 10. She's going to bet at it on a 1-liner to a 5 here. 3,000. You would think that this is turning her hand into a bluff.
Show, but I might have it.
Well,
yeah, her inexperience just comes through with like her table talk too, where she's like, I'm afraid, she's like embarrassed to show, but she thinks she might have it. You know, it's just comes across as very inexperienced. It also ties into her like wanting to come across as more experienced than she is, of being like afraid to show, which might help explain why she acted weird with the Jack 4 hand and was embarrassed and might have reversed her stories about what happened and so on. Also, it's small things again, like, but if she was cheating, would she have bet there? Like if she somehow knew she was ahead? I mean, it's a small pot. Maybe, you know, we can't say much about the theoretical methods of cheating, but, you know, just if she had a reliable source of information, A, we'd see her in more pots, I think, and B, we wouldn't see her, I think we'd see her building up more pots, we'd see her in more pots, et cetera, and we wouldn't see her lose so many pots and bet bad and stuff.
And that is why you...
And I also should say that she was on 2 previous streams, and people said that she just played in a similar way, didn't really see anything out of the ordinary worth talking about, unlike, for example, the apostle hands in history.
Do not play the hand I played.
You said the same thing. I'm like, why would you play that?
That's what you did yourself.
Full heart in this deck.
Eric down 111,000. Robbie and Phil pulling up the rear, 21 and 20.
Yeah, VPIP here. I just want to check that out.
Take a look here at our first.
Yeah, Robbie has the lowest, you know, pre-flop putting in money stats, which is interesting.
VPIP chart.
Okay.
It's a big raise here, and Robbie's going to call with Jack 8 of diamonds in the middle blind, and Andy here going to call with King 10. So 9,500 here 3 ways. And how about trip queens here? It looks like for Garrett, and Andy with the king.
3,000.
So Garrett should be able to get some streets. Robbie's going to call here. What? Jack 8?
That cheating device is really failing her.
I don't know what's going on here. Jack 8. And Andy here with King 10. Also going to call.
Again, I'm being sarcastic. I mean, she could theoretically have a cheating device. I'm mainly arguing against the highly certain stances on her play and the ideas that she was cheating. But we'll talk more about that later.
Turn is a 4, and now Garrett fills up, and Robbie now picks up a backdoor diamond draw. A disaster for Robbie here. It's an absolute disaster. Start to think about when you have trip queens. You get 2 callers. What do these people have?
Curious of his sizing here.
Garrett's going to bet 10,000.
10K, yeah, into 18K. Robbie's like, damn it, why did I have to pick up a flush draw? I don't know what to do now.
And she is going to call, drawing dead, and I think Andy can probably just get away from this one now. I mean, he is getting some pretty good turn pot odds of almost 4-1, but Garrett has bet 2 times after Robbie and Andy called the...
Also interesting, noting how stoic Robbie's body language is. I mean, I think if you went through and compared some things, I think you'd see some spots where she was more relaxed seeming, and she's just very still and stoic here.
Flop in, yep. There's the correct fold once again. Nice fold, and boy, Robbie needs to dodge a diamond here. Well, the river is a 9, and she has no idea how lucky that is for her.
Wonder what Garrett will bet here. I'll probably just go to try for max value if I hoping up I'm gonna get something.
Out, what does she have? You wouldn't think she would just have air with backdoor diamonds. He probably thinks that she has a king.
55.
Well, he's gonna go
Overbet,
55. Yeah. Put her in a box if she had a king, or maybe if she somehow had the case queen, but it's not gonna matter.
I'm just kind of interested in their dynamic here.
Give him this draw. 10 seconds.
Interesting. Interesting.
What is she? She says she thinks she has a missed draw. She only has jack high. She doesn't beat ace high.
It's like foreshadowings of the jack 4 hand.
I don't know what she's really thinking about here.
You can have this one.
You can have this one.
I'll get you again.
Now this is really interesting, you know, because, I mean, you've got a few things here. She says, you know, you can see her not trusting Garrett. Like, she doesn't, there's a few things. She's very distrustful of Garrett. She doesn't want to be made a fool of. She says she thinks he's on a misdraw. She wants to come across like she's experienced and comfortable at these stakes when she's clearly not. There's all these factors in the mix for her that I think lead up to the Jack 4 hand. You know, we can see her expressing a desire to call, even if she's mostly posturing. We can see her, you know, wanting to think about it and having an incentive to question Garrett's bets and such, like especially this overbet. I think, you know, she was like, I think there's also this big thing where she wants to seem experience. She wants to save face. So this is often a thing people do even when they know they're going to fold. They will say like, oh, I think you're weak. So in case Garrett was bluffing, it can come across like, well, at least she said she was suspicious and she expressed suspicion. You know, that's kind of a face saving thing. Like, even if you know you're never calling that, right? So just to say, I think we see several factors that can help us understand how she could make that call with Jack 4. And then again, she could have I still think it's possible that she could have misread her hand and then like been embarrassed and then tried to reverse herself later and stuff. But it's also possible she could have just been so stressed out and not thinking straight that she called with Jack high. I think there are many things in the mix here.
Nice hand there.
She said, I'll get you later. And she certainly does get him later. But again, getting back to the, like, you know, if she was cheating, she might have not been involved in that hand. Or, you know, there's different ways to cheat, obviously. Like, you could just have a cheating device that tells you if you're ahead or not. So theoretically, like, she could, if she was cheating and had that kind of device, she could have reevaluated on the river or something. But just to say, a lot of these hands in concert don't really add up to somebody with any sort of cheating knowledge.
Sorry?
Yeah, yesterday's streaming.
Yesterday's
on YouTube?
stream. Yeah.
YouTube.
Interesting that this was just a few minutes before the Jack forehand, which is coming up in a few minutes.
You know what we have?
Yes. King shit. I'll do.
Fine.
So you found out when I had that hand?
I'm glad I didn't know until after. I was gonna tilt out everything. Ignorance is the best.
Interesting too, right there you saw Robbie mouthing her hand, I think, to Rip, which I think was mentioned, might have been mentioned in Garrett's thing about how they were, friends and such. She says Jack 8, it looks like, to Rip, mouthing it. Which in Garrett's write-up, him acting as if, there's a lot to say there, but I might get into it on the next live stream I do with maybe Lyman on Tuesday, talking about the Jack forehand. But like Garrett acting like they were soft playing each other, they were friends, which in his eyes and his portrayal might have been indicators of them working together or cheating. It's just very weak evidence. Like, say, it's actually evidence against them cheating, because like if you were surreptitiously working together with someone, would you really be like making it obvious, on the recorded stream that you were friends with them? Like, it was quite obvious that they were friends. They were doing stuff together. They were talking. She was mouthing things to him. If you were cheating together, would you really be doing that stuff? I don't think you would. So just to say, her relaxed behavior in this was one of the things initially where even before I learned barely anything about it, just her demeanor in the hand and afterwards made me confident that she was not a cheater. But not to say that behavior is that meaningful, but it can be a reason to have instinctual vibes about something, and a reason to, you want to collect more evidence. But just to say, that's why I had some instinctual sense of that.
Ruske, only like 30 messages, text message.
Okay, we're coming up in a few minutes on the Jack forehand. I'm actually going to take a quick break here, bathroom break. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
I want to see. Does she have Jack 4?
Wait. What happened? Did it skip ahead? Sorry, not sure what happened there. I don't know how it skipped ahead like that.
And got him.
I told what's behind.
Okay, that's the one we just watched. Just making sure.
And again, that crazy hand, we'll talk about that one for years, was from yesterday's show at 2 hours and 34 minutes in. Garrett cold 4-bet Andy with king 5 offsuit. Andy had kings and got him to lay it down. There's going around.
2400.
Oh, Mike X here with ace jack of hearts. You got Ivy behind you, usually a spot where you want to drive somebody out. So we could easily see a 3-bet here.
I like it out of both of you.
And there it is to 7,000.
She's barking at me. It's cute. No.
And for Mike,
I think people added on or something.
Not really. I didn't add on. I'm fucking lost 70.
Huh?
I'm down 70.
How much you have behind you?
Mike starts pretty short, only 50 big blinds effective.
I'm joking. I lost.
It's 20, 30, 4. Give and take.
I'm all in.
Yeah, there's the all-in.
All in the call.
Wow, and Mike, well, Mike just called very quickly. Very of hearts here.
And slow and that's
Good right now.
Huge lead.
Make it sting. Make it sting.
You need to catch, or excuse me, yeah, Robbie's going to need to catch the jack here.
30.
Nice.
Nice hit, Mike. Welcome back. Welcome back.
I see it, Mike.
Twice pocket queens.
Oh, you had pocket queens when
Twice.
The king?
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming up very shortly.
Yeah.
In the Jack 4 hand.
That's why I called, because like,
you know you're gonna win.
if I
You know she
can't
has a
win
better
2
hand.
pocket queens twice.
You're like, yep, she has a better hand, so I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
Glad you folded, Phil.
Folded?
Yeah.
You were here.
Don't worry about it.
You had a speed. You had a speed.
Folded, yeah.
She raised.
You raised Jack, right? She moved all in and you call?
And I got lucky.
Raised to 30.
Okay, you're allowed.
Yeah. I was hoping to get lucky.
3,800.
Seems to be the only way. Better cards haven't won yet, though.
So now Robbie has ace 5 suited here on the button.
These minor things, but you know, when somebody raises and the person immediately asks how much is that, you know, tends to make the stronger hands less likely. You know, if she had like a decent pair or something, or ace king, chances are she wouldn't immediately ask. She'd be a little bit more focused and thoughtful and such. So just to say the little tells are common pre-flop of giving away that somebody's probably not really that focused on their hand or not at the top of their range, and that can play a role later. I have examples of that in my video series and talk about it in my books.
And she's going to call a large raise here from Eric. Rip limped in, and this is on 800.
I'm Mike.
Yeah, Phil, why does it matter with you? You don't even make it halfway through.
You don't want to even watching what you're doing together. He's gonna disappear while we're filming. Come back when we're not.
After 8, I don't need to work.
You get up at 5 in the morning.
Really good at taking everyone's
8 o'clock's like your midnight or
right
something.
here.
Especially yesterday.
I can stay awake if
I did a great job of taking
the right situation.
Like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I can stay awake for 5 days.
Right, I'm with you. I know how that feels.
Have you ever lost 250,000 straight, Robbie?
3 hours.
Yeah.
Is that what happened
did it
on
just a few
air or
hours.
off air? On air or off air?
That part was on air, and then it got worse from there.
Did it? Because I heard that you stacked everybody in the last one.
Did you?
Snap bet from Eric.
Coach told you wrong.
No, it was not.
Well, Eric's aggression might win this hand, and it does.
Well, like post-stream.
Again, another example of where, you know, the alleged cheaters are just cheaters are not really getting involved in hands and spots where
No, we played for like an hour.
you would expect
Maybe 11:30, if I had to guess.
cheaters to peel off more cards.
Yeah.
Especially cheaters who are maybe prone to playing a hand like Jack 4 the way she did. You know, again, I don't think she cheated.
You're bad.
Here. Well, Rip here is going to bring it in with 2,500 with Ace Queen of Spades. And
I remember this. I haven't seen it, or maybe I have a while back. But this was one of the hands that people were saying made it seem like they were soft playing each other, which again is common for friends in a game. Like people might not like that or think it's unfair to soft play each other, but it's just a fact that people in games, friends often soft play each other, especially more recreational players who, you know, they're more likely to make it obvious that they're soft playing. Let's just say.
Robbie picks up Ace Queen offsuit here.
Keep that shit going.
Okay.
Players friends soft playing each other does not mean that make it any more likely that they're cheating. In other words. And this is the kind of stuff Garrett talked about in his very bad write-up, very biased and just plain illogical write-up about trying to make the case that Robbie cheated him.
What's that? You want a green tea?
Let's see it.
If it's cold. Heads up. You keep that shit hot. Man.
And again, they're very clearly, obviously, friends. They make they really make no effort to hide that they're friends, and something that I don't think if they were cheating together they would not do. At least they'd be less buddy.
Where did this flop come from? Ace, ace, 8. The other two aces on the flop. So both players with.
You know, when friends are soft playing each other, you can kind of get the sense that they don't really know what to do, right? Like if these guys are clearly not used to playing these stakes. They're not very good. They really don't want to take each other's money either, but they also don't want to look like they're soft playing each other. So you can kind of sense the indecision of like, well, what do we even do in this spot? You know, that they're just not used to being in these such spots at all.
Trip aces with the same kicker. They both have the same hand. Robbie could win it with backdoor clubs, and it goes check, check.
Dave's game last night?
Yeah, and I think Garrett or maybe other people had mentioned like his expression to Robbie, like this little facial expression he gives.
Check.
Dave's game last night?
Some people thought that it was possible that his finger on his arm was a sign to for her to fold or something. You know, it was all just supposition, right? This finger thing he's got going on, his facial expressions. But again, it's unrelated to any cheating allegations. Even if they were soft playing, it doesn't mean anything in regards to the cheating, even if it's true. Which there's just no. The finger thing is just supposition, speculation.
And now Rip's that's 4,000. So obviously, I think Robbie thinks that she's slow playing, and she just called. Wow. And the river's a club.
Maybe people will stumble upon.
And obviously, Rip's going to continue to bet. But I wonder. Oh, just 4,000.
Another small bet.
Walking, I think you have. Whatever.
You're alive. You're alive.
You ready to show?
Finally, Garrett gets in a private game. He's been waiting.
Is she just going to call?
No.
It's still Patrick and Eric.
She played that
Go.
super passively. Super passively.
Well, they both did. I mean, even if I knew nothing about them, just the fact that they were, like, they seemed to be friendly with each other. They both were, like, new to these games, these high-stakes games and such. You know, I would have guessed that they were probably soft playing each other.
I thought you had ace king, I swear.
The way they talk to each other just seems like how friends would talk to each other afterwards and such.
You came in hard.
Oh, there's 2 aces on the board. You can't be holding an ace. Statistically impossible.
Like, they're almost like, it almost seems like they're uncomfortable for not playing each other harder because they know it might seem strange. So they're, like, trying to say these various things, you know, which is common in games. If you've played much live poker, you see a lot of people friends slow playing each other.
She's got an ace king.
And I have a club.
I didn't like the king. I was
Also statistically impossible. All right.
like, give me.
Nice hand.
Nice hand.
Nice hand, cowboy.
Thanks, sir.
Every penny.
Coming up soon on the Jack-4 hand.
I don't know why she didn't raise the turn. That's weird.
Not yours.
Bart, I think that too. Like, would Bart really say on the commentary would he really say if he thought they were just slow playing each other? I don't know. There's probably not an incentive for commentators to get into that stuff.
And then I guess she got scared of the clubs at the end. Phil Ivey just brought those purple chocolate chip conceit at Garrett's got 1, 2.
And it's called 1200 YT.
Nice to have.
There's now she's gonna listen to the stream. I haven't told her that I wish it was the bigger table.
Yeah, got it.
Get back into the action here, and Rip and Ruski both with a king, but it's
thankfully my wife would never
monotone
watch
board.
this, so.
And listen to every comment. She hates those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
She wants to message him back.
Yeah.
3,000.
You have like a lot of defenders actually.
A lot of what?
You have a lot of defenders on stream.
Yeah. I have both, right? I
Yeah,
have both.
but more good than that.
Yeah.
I'm very similar.
They're like, oh, Eric got the best of them, but in the long run, Garrett always wins. It's like so fucking so much. People go to, no, you're wrong. So ridiculous.
I mean, people just love poker, so I appreciate like all the conversation, all the analysis of all the hands I misplayed. All of it's just like
Just curious, am I still live? Can people... I think I'm still streaming, but can somebody confirm that? Just want to make sure. That'd be funny if I wasn't streaming. Okay, thank you. Whew. Started getting worried.
function of people that
Poker community.
association is not super appreciated.
It's weird, Garrett.
That's why I deleted it. It's like,
There's very few.
I know you meant well by it, but can we do a round of straddle then? Everyone's fucking jerking me off. Sweet. It's Phil Ivey week, and it's just everyone's sitting here talking about how good I am.
Garrett will use every excuse to be upset and start a straddle round.
How about Phil Ivey though, everyone? What a fucking player this guy is, huh? The
Well, I was
best.
waiting for it to get off screen. He doesn't want any of this.
So we've got the 800 straddle on here. Playing
It's
one.
kind of interesting that they were talking about how good Garrett and Phil Ivey were right before this Jack-4 hand. Just kind of another interesting element to it.
1-2-4 with a 400 big blind ante and 800. And because we're only playing 8-handed, sometimes 7-handed if someone's walking.
To take the attention off Garrett, we should go around the table and everybody tell Phil their favorite Phil Ivey moment.
Please don't.
Let's go around the table. I'll start with me.
Because I
I'll start
already
with
did
me.
mine, so I'm out.
All right, I'll do me.
My PEV stories. I'm done.
So my favorite moment, and like, I think that was like the first night you were playing with him, and like you just had this look on your face, like, who the fuck is this kid? And he bought all this like really weird, like he had like sunglasses on and.
I just want to hear the story.
When Jason Mercier first came on the scene, and then you guys played on high stakes poker, he came in like wearing like all this like really weird, like he had like sunglasses on, and like I think that was like the first night you were playing with him, and like you just had this look on your face, like, who the fuck is this kid? And he bought it for like 100K, 200K, or something like that.
Yeah.
And you guys got in the hand where like you had like nines, and then he had like ace 4 suited hearts, I think, and like he flopped a gutter with hearts, I think, and then you guys got it in, and like you like won this big pot off him, and he came with like all this cash, dumped it on the table. You remember that? Yeah. And then he like it was like his second hand in, and then you beat him in that pot, and he's like, all right, I'll see you guys later.
He played 2 hands and left?
Yeah.
That's sick.
He made like a big entrance, and like Phil stacked him, and then he was like,
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a great hand. And then Jason turned out to be like the superstar.
The classic, the old classic televised poker stuff.
That was like one of his first TV appearances.
Here we go.
First ones, yeah. That was like before he won all those tournaments, and yeah.
Oh. Wow, Robbie really
The
mixing
Jack
it
4
up
hand
here,
starting here.
calling Garrett's raise with Jack 4 off. It's wine versus wine, and Garrett here has flopped a straight flush draw, 10-10-9 with a couple clubs. He's gonna bet 2,500. Wow, and Robbie's gonna call here with Jack 4 with the Jack of clubs. Turn is a 3, puts backdoor hearts down. And this is usually when Garrett will lay the hammer down with combo draws. He's gonna bet
That's pot.
10,000. I think Robbie should have probably been out of his hand pre-flop. She's got 1 club and 1 heart, and wow, look at this. What is she thinking about here? She gonna raise it. Well, we saw her raise ace king a little bit ago for a min raise. Here she's gonna min click.
This is interesting too, because remember the hand with versus Eric Pearson where she made basically a min raise. I think it was on the turn with a bluff. It's another example of a, showing her propensity to maybe do that kind of stuff when she thinks she's being bullied or something.
Jack 4, and Garrett is just so experienced.
Oh, wait, hold on, let me scratch my face. That's the shit I got.
So she says something interesting there. Let me scratch my face because that's the shit I got. It doesn't make much sense, but I think she's basically trying to, come across as relaxed, like acting like you're going to get a read on me that I have a strong hand or something, Yeah, and somebody said after this replay, I don't think she's cheating. She's basically an amateur, having no clue what to do in the game and ultra creative. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was my read of the situation initially. And I think, too, if you read Garrett Adelstein's report, which is just really bad, like this was the best he could put together about it, it was just really bad. It made him look bad. It was just, some of the stuff was just straight up untrue what he said about like other hands and stuff. I'll also say, too, well, we'll get into it more, but I do want to, on Tuesday, the next live stream, I wanted to talk to Lyman about the hand specifically and the factors of why people thought she was cheating. Like, for example, the guy who worked for Hustler Casino Productions taking chips off of her stack, which was a admittedly strange thing, which I believe was just a coincidence. But we'll talk about the various factors involved and why people did or did not think she was cheating.
How often would she do this with the 10? Could he possibly bet 3-bet here?
Yes, he could.
I mean, she just min-clicked the turn.
I do think, too, like, as a general thing, you will often see recreational players making these small raises. I mean, not usually at these stakes, obviously, but like if you play like a 1-2, 2-5 game, you will see like these small raises, like a min-click kind of raises with bluffs and such, where it's just like they just don't understand the sizing enough, and they're in their minds they're just like being aggressive, but they just don't understand the sizing enough, and they're imbalanced, and that their bluffs tend to be smaller in general, like their smaller bets in general are weighted to more bluffy things versus their larger bets.
If he calls, there'd be about 2 pot size bets left, so I mean that's what's got to be going through his head here. I think he's considering three betting, and yep, there's the all-in. There's the all-in. Garrett, like I said, he's just so experienced in bet patterns, bet sizing. She sort of acted a little bit with Jack-8 of diamonds from a few rounds ago. She's gonna put a time chip out?
Similar to what she did when she was acting like she was going to call him with Jack-High earlier when she put a time chip out, I think, right?
She said that she thought Garrett had a draw.
Plus, as somebody pointed out too, like theoretically, if she was cheating and she had some device that was even just telling her, I mean, there's different ways you could get information, but if there was a device that was just saying you're ahead right now or not ahead right now, you know, even the, I mean, there's different ways to get that information, but if it was just telling you the percentages or something, Garrett's technically ahead right now, but, you know, she's ahead in the sense that having high card at that moment, yeah, that's probably not that meaningful, but depending on how much information she had. Plus, it just looks, you know, as is obvious as many people have pointed out, if you were cheating, this would be like one of the worst spots to cheat in. Like, it would make you look really suspicious, right? Like, in any that would be top of mind for anybody trying to cheat, is like, how suspicious do I look, right? That's not to say that you know, obviously cheaters are often pretty stupid, but it's just to say her doing it, there can be many many reasons for and against, right? Which is what makes this hand so interesting, and the allegations so interesting, and people's views on it so interesting. There's just so many factors in the mix.
About 20 minutes ago, Garrett had the full house.
I also think that, you know, she's had this history. I didn't watch the previous streams with her and Garrett, but, you know, there's this history where she seemed like she didn't want to be bullied by Garrett.
Against Jack-8. And she took some time with it. And then she said,
I just want to call to see it.
I just want to call to see it.
I think he might have me though. Three's no good? This is why you shouldn't be in hands like this.
Three's no good, yeah. So I do think it's still possible that she thought she had a three, like she misread her hand, and even afterwards she initially said that and then she went back on it, which could have been a face-saving thing. Or she was pretending that she thought she had a three just for, you know, for whatever reason. People pointed out that she double-checked her cards here for a while, but she, you know, that doesn't mean much. She didn't even seem to be really looking at them. She just kind of like picked them up. So just to say, as with a lot of these spots, there's just a lot of factors in the mix and a lot of ambiguity. I think her final story ended up being that she just thought she had Jack-High, but it's possible that she did misread her hand and she realized like she couldn't keep switching her story, or she would end up looking suspicious. So maybe she just stayed with like her initial reversal of saying she did have, you know, ended up saying she did have Jack-High and was afraid to go back yet again and say she misread her hand. So just to say, I think there's just a lot of complexity here.
He doesn't have a three. So
You want me to call you?
I don't know what she's thinking about here, because she loses to some bluffs like king, queen, jack.
I mean, the fact that she says this is why you don't play hands like that, it did feel like the reaction of somebody who really thought they had a three. Like, would she really say that if she just had Jack-High? It seemed like a genuine reaction of like feeling really uncertain because she had a three and just didn't want to fold to a bluff kind of thing. But, you know, again, behavior and statements are all ambiguous. We're just talking about what makes this so complex.
Types of things too. She calls?
Okay, cute. Commence the fireworks.
For once, but it's up to you. Yikes.
Oh my God.
Let's see the hand. So far, so good. It looks like you're ahead.
You have it?
What is going on here?
For once, but it's up to you.
She just seems like she doesn't know what's going on.
Is it possible that her hand might be misread in the card graphics or something?
Because I have a shitty hand.
You do? Yikes.
Got it.
Great.
Done. Okay.
You have pocket 3?
What? No. No, I just thought he's. This is a pure bluff catcher I'm dealing with right now.
With Jack high?
But yeah, I think he has me beat.
Again, she seems really embarrassed or really into like face saving, like she was in previous hands. Like, so it's.
We'll go to the river.
She both wants to not be bullied, but also save face in case she's wrong.
River is a 9.
That one's you for sure.
They're gonna run it twice, and she's gonna.
Small pair.
You give me that much credit?
I don't know.
She's good with the first one.
Let's turn him over. You're not that
Oh. No.
She's embarrassed.
If the cards are correct.
Like whether she had Jack high or 3, she'd be embarrassed.
What a sick call.
And the river bricks out again.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wow.
I want to see. Does she have Jack 4?
Jack high?
What?
Watch Garrett's face like do this slow burn.
Look at
Garrett slowly losing his mind.
Whoa, look at Garrett's face. That's
some fucking poker right there.
That was sick.
Wow.
That was sick.
Garrett looking at other people to see like, do you guys find this as weird as I do?
Oh shit.
That is super, super strange. You can see his reaction. Like, what?
Ma'am? Very nice to be
Rip saying, ma'am, very nice to be associated with you. Like, and that's the other, like getting back to Garrett saying like Rip and Robbie might be in on it. Like, would Rip be doing that, doing all this stuff, friendly stuff, whether if they were cheating?
Jacob, you look like you want to kill me. I'm not Jacob. I mean, like, you look like you want to kill me.
So Garrett's reaction makes her very uncomfortable, which I think plays into her later behavior. Like, she's clearly someone who wants to fit in with this crowd and wants to be perceived as cool and experienced and knowledgeable, at least fit in. So I think she's made very uncomfortable by this reaction from Garrett, which helps explain like her giving the money back afterwards and all these things. Like this, this reaction would understandably make people very uncomfortable. She misspeaks his name.
He wants to vomit.
I wasn't letting the hand. I want to vomit.
It's also unclear if the other players really understand. I think some of them do. The more experienced players understand what Garrett's reaction means, and that he's highly suspicious. I think some of the players do not. I'm not sure Robbie, with her inexperience, even really knows what's going on.
Wow.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I mean, usually Garrett would
She looks very uncomfortable.
be fairly congratulatory if somebody made a hero call like that, but he seems somewhat disturbed here.
Yeah.
What
Disturbed is an understatement.
happened? I don't.
Call it a year right there.
It's testing.
It's literally like the sort of most disturbed look that I've ever seen Garrett give.
It's like Chris Farley when they replaced his coffee with Folgers Crystals.
Let me tell you what happened. 10,000, win range 20, shove, call.
And obviously the reason why he would be that is how can she call?
I remember.
Like maybe he thinks that she saw his hand somehow, or I don't know.
Nothing. Ain't nothing happened.
It's also interesting too, behaviorally, like her saying, "You let me do this to you again" when she turned her cards over, winning, and it's like, if she was cheating and afraid of being perceived as suspicious. There's several of those things where it's like, would she really be doing this kind of stuff that's kind of agitating? Like, let me do this to you again. It's small stuff. Again, behavior or small clues, but those were just my initial reads when I first saw it.
Up goes bet call. The turn goes bet raise shove. Call.
Oh, like what? What do you mean, like raise?
128.
She's just kind of self-soothing or unsure what to do.
128.3.
Andy said that's the weirdest fucking hand I've ever seen.
I understand sort of what's happening right now.
Garrett said, I don't understand what's happening right now.
Andy
And Garrett kind of very perplexed, understandably.
If my jack was in a club, I would have been out.
What do you mean?
She says, if my jack wasn't a club, I would have been out.
If your jack wasn't a club.
Blocker.
You know you've let me do this to you several times now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
I'm just testing it.
Yeah.
She's going back to the, you let me do this, getting back to the like playful banner of like, I didn't fall for your bluff. And again, if she were cheating, I don't think you'd see that kind of like agitating.
This doesn't seem super funny to me, honestly.
No, like when you bet that like high big stack, why do you think I want?
I think she's trying to like deflect from this. I think she gets a sense that he's of what he's saying, that he's basically suspicious of something happening, and she's trying to deflect back to the like, I just did what I did and it's no big deal, and there was a reason for why I did it.
I thought you were on ace high. Ace high.
And then so why call with jack high then?
First of all, a little bit of a straight draw. I have blockers on there.
No, on the turn though. So you called all in on the turn because.
Yeah, because you don't have shit.
I think that gets down to it, yeah. Whether she thought she had a 3 or had jack high, she really, in her mind, just thought he had shit.
That's right. She thinks you can't beat a jack high.
It's not about what I have. It's about what I don't think you have when you play against me. That's it.
You didn't think you had jack queen of clubs?
75. You let me do this to you post-stream, too.
I think that's another thing is like, if she had really cheated him, I don't think she'd be kind of like needling him like this.
Oh, last time we played.
Yeah.
They keep letting me.
But I think it's her way of, diffusing the tension by saying like, hey, I just thought you were full of shit.
100.
But she's still, she's quite uncomfortable because I think she knows.
I mean, obviously, I'll just say it. Gary thinks that this hand was not straight in some way. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is the most disturbed I've ever seen Garrett look at the table. And I think Andy's disturbed too. He doesn't. If you looked over there, it's like, whoa, what just happened here?
You're not the only one that gets lucky sometimes, Garrett. You don't have to get that upset.
Yeah, she's trying to bring it back to a normal realm of interaction, playful banter realm.
Robbie did that for Andy. Robbie did that for Andy last night. She did that for you.
I'm commuting this. Honestly, I don't know what's going on right now.
Yep.
That was the most insane poker hand I've ever had.
Andy.
That's not a poker hand.
That wasn't. I played you and not the hand. What's the problem? I played you. So don't let me play you.
Yeah, just don't let her play you.
I mean, I don't know if that's a function of that she thought she could call.
I mean, yeah, okay.
I know, right?
The reason why this is, of course, so strange is that.
But I also was
But she had the blocker to the straight flush draw.
Exactly, a jack of clubs.
Boom, that's the key card.
Eric, you done?
I saw that shit. It happens. There's some reason you did it.
There's multiple reasons I did it.
You only needed one. You thought Jack High was good.
That's like some spiritual guide from outer space.
I ran it twice because I didn't think Jack High could be good.
That is you have been most that
But it was.
I know.
Yeah. So
And most men just bluff me. And I'm
Most men just bluff me, which I think the other thing here I'll say that I don't think people really understand about these spots is like, if you're playing on a stream for high stakes, like sometimes I think for inexperienced players, your mind can just not be working well. Like that, I experienced that in the little bit I played on a live at the bike. I mean, I wasn't even playing that high, but just like something about being on camera and knowing I was being recorded and such made my mind kind of go blank in spots. It was very unusual, and I do think could be a factor in this too, where her brain was short-circuiting, and she's just mainly like thinking like, I'm not going to be made a fool of, and I don't, I mean, I've seen if you've played much live poker, you've seen crazy calls where you're just like, that made no freaking sense.
It's a situation where it's like,
it's only strange because of the stakes, but I think if you factor in just how inexperienced she seems and some of the weird plays and weird things she says, I think it starts to make more sense. She's just trying to fit in, playing way above her bankroll, wants to fit in, doesn't know, not used to being in any of these situations, wants to not be bullied.
Possible that she just doesn't know. This is what's got to be going through Garrett's mind.
You're the only one in it with me.
The streamers have gone crazy.
Does she just not know that she can't call with Jack high there, and that a bunch of bluffs beat her? Or was the hand not straight in some way?
We are on YouTube.
No, but I mean, it's going to be a clip. That's just
But both Garrett and Andy.
It's all on its own right there. So sorry. Fucking amazing.
Think that something's up.
It was amazing.
Therapist in here or what?
Still needling him. Like, you want to get a therapist in here or what? Like, when I first saw the hand years ago, I just thought her behavior, everything about it said to me that she was really not acting like somebody that had cheated.
I need one after that. At least
82% of the time he's going to make something on 2 boards.
I don't feel so hungover anymore.
Oh, man.
Wow, look at Garrett. He's like somebody looks like he's seen a ghost almost. You know that there's all kinds of things going through his head.
One of my bucket list, the man, the myth, the legend who I fucking...
Now, I have a lot of experience with this from years ago, with the possibility of someone possibly seeing the cards. And we saw this whole sample from Robbie today. Remember, she called drawing dead with the Jack-8 of diamonds, so it's just really strange.
Yeah, so Bart's pointing out that previous hand where she was calling drawing dead as like, that's one sign that maybe, she doesn't have full knowledge of the cards and such. And then you could go back and look at other hands too.
First time making history for you?
I'm just going to watch a few more hands. So I'm actually going to talk about this in more detail on Tuesday, specifically this hand. I'm going to talk about the fact that the other strange thing about this was that there was that player, I think his name was Brian, who worked for Hustler Live, Hustler Casino video production, and had stolen chips off of her stack this same day, which is another reason people thought, oh, this guy was maybe in cahoots with Robbie. Maybe he was feeding her card information. And it wasn't understandable. Very strange coincidence, along with very other strange things like her giving the money back. There's many strange things about this. But I think all of these things can be explained in various ways that no matter how you slice it, it's weird. It's weird no matter how you slice it, which is what makes this interesting. But I'm going to talk more about that in the next live stream. The one interesting thing about the guy stealing chips from her stack, which I'll say real briefly, is like if he was somebody who was regularly stealing chips from people's stacks, he would probably choose to do that in situations where a player was distracted, might not know how many chips they have, might not be keeping track of their chips. So if he was somebody who was doing that in general, it would probably make sense that he would choose to do that in this spot where Robbie was going through this big thing. She was inexperienced. She was having a discussion with Garrett, maybe giving money back. Just a lot of confusion on her part. So if you were going to be somebody stealing chips from the table, that might have been a good spot to steal from somebody's stack. Just to say there's many of these things that look really bad on the surface that made people think like there has to be something here. She's definitely cheating. This is all too weird, too many coincidences. Just to say there might be other factors involved that have made these things play out the way they did. At the very least, I can say that I think it's very wrong for these people to have spoken in such highly certain ways about her guilt and such, because to me and many other, obviously I'm not the only person, many other people spoke up saying there's no good evidence that she cheated. And to be highly certain about it, I think is just extremely wrong. Like if you're highly certain about it, I think you're being highly certain in wrong ways about many things. I think it's just an indicator. Someone's saying my conclusion that she didn't cheat. Yeah, that's right. And I'm gonna talk more about that. I think it's more fair to say there's no good evidence that she cheated. To be highly certain of it is wrong in my stance. To be even close to certain of it is wrong in my opinion. But if you're curious about why I think that, tune into the next live stream, because I'm going to be talking specifically about this hand in more detail. Or if you want to get some other thoughts, you can check out this previous episode of mine back from January 2024, where I talked to LA poker player Yakov Hirsch about that hand from my behavior/psychology podcast. But yeah, we'll get into more detail about that. And I'll watch on another future live stream. I'm going to keep watching this stream because I'm curious about what happened after this hand. I think that's curious. I've never watched that before, just like I hadn't watched the stuff I watched on this live stream. So I am just personally curious about how the aftermath of it played out and what people said and these kinds of things. Okay. And again, if you want to keep in the loop on me doing these things, check out readingpokertells.com/Twitch, which is where I was keeping a loose calendar of when I was going to do these things. And some info about what I might do in future. Okay.